John Hudson with the Washington Post.
Thanks, Mr. Secretary. You don't do domestic politics, but you do.
Good, thank you.
But you do represent the United States on the world stage. What are you hearing from foreign counterparts about the guilty verdict in the Trump trial?
I really have nothing to share on that. We have diplomatic conversations that will remain just that, diplomatic conversations in private.
Former President Trump's trial was defined by his efforts to castigate and delegitimize a court of law. Does that give you any pause about how the Biden administration has responded to another court of law, the International Criminal Court, as well as the International Court of Justice with regards to Gaza?
I'm not going to comment on the first part of your question because, as I've long said, I don't do politics, I do policy. With regard to policy and the ICC, look, we've been very clear about this. The decision that the prosecutor made was, in our judgment, profoundly wrong-headed, and in creating an equation between Hamas and Israel, Hamas's leaders and Israel's democratically elected leaders, as we've said, and as I've said, it's quite frankly shameful. The reality is that the court was created for a very good reason, to be a court of last resort, one that would swing into action where a country either couldn't or wouldn't effectively police itself. And so the principle of what's called complementarity is at the heart of the court's creation and what it does. And in Israel, you have a vibrant, independent, and very active judicial system. And in the case of Gaza as well, there are many incidents that are under investigation, including some under criminal investigation. There's a case right now before the Israeli Supreme Court about the alleged denial of humanitarian assistance for Gazans. And so Israel and its system, its democratic system, with independent courts and judges, as well as a military justice system that can effectively investigate any allegations of abuse, that should be allowed to run its course. And given that, never mind the fact that we don't accept the jurisdiction of the court over Israel, but leaving that aside, Israeli justice should be allowed to run its course. Finally, I think it's very deeply unfortunate that Israel was prepared to cooperate with the investigation, even while rejecting the jurisdiction of the court. And yet, the prosecutor chose not to pursue that cooperation.
And just lastly, the Kremlin has put out a statement saying that the trial shows the White House is eliminating Biden's political rivals. They're trying to use this as a way to besmirch the American legal system. How do you respond to that?
I would say that's a classic case of projection.